Welcome to the Pursuit of Manliness podcast, where we are vigorously equipping men to pursue biblical manliness. I want to say first, before we get into this, I don't have a podcast because I think I'm an expert in anything. I don't have a podcast because I think, you should come, sit at my feet and that I need to weekly browbeat you into becoming more like me or anything like that. And most of you know that. Most of you guys understand that. You know me, or you're familiar enough with the pursuit of manliness and myself to know that. But I felt like I wanted to say that because this is a challenging topic. We talk about all kinds of things on this podcast, but this one, as you can see in the title, is one that we're probably most insecure about, and it's hard to verbalize. The reality is by the time a guy gets into his about late 30s, 40s, 50s, you're into full-time work. You should be involved in church. Maybe you've taken a wife. Maybe you have some children. You have some responsibilities. You can feel like you are loaded with obligations. And yet at the same time, internally, your soul can feel a little empty. You can feel like something's missing, especially when it comes to real brotherhood. You can read all the books, you can attend the men's ministry conferences, you can subscribe to content like this, you can do all the man things, but at the end of it all, you still feel like, something is missing. 10 years ago, when I started this podcast, again, I wanted to help, but I also knew in my life, there were some things that were missing, and that's where Tribe was born. And I've really tried to work at Tribe to build a community that I can get involved and invest in, that I can really devote a lot of time, effort, energy, all the things, knowing that I need these types of friendships, but also want to create an environment that a guy like you, who may or may not have a lot of relationships, no matter what season of life you're in. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying I encounter a lot of guys who would admit eventually they really didn't have that, or maybe they didn't even understand that it was missing. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you encounter it. So that's what I want to try to walk through today. When we're talking about men and friendships, this is a tough one, and I get the opportunity to have some conversations with guys who will say, I spent a lot of years not really having friends, or I had a ton of friends in college, or I had a ton of friends when I was involved in this activity or this fraternity or in the military. But when I got out, or when I took a wife, or when I tried to have a career or whatever, I started to realize, those types of brotherhood that you talk about, I didn't have that, but I knew I needed it. So, and I wasn't even sure about going about it, because there's a large element of vulnerability by just attempting to have a friend. I've told this story before, but I remember years ago, my wife and I, when we first got married, we were looking to have, some friends of people our age. And we're kind of moving out of that college age season, and that we're looking for younger people who maybe could be our friend or hang out with us. And we had this couple we invited over for our house one night for dinner, and they declined because they needed to go buy a vacuum. Now, maybe they desperately needed a vacuum, but in that context, you're like, man, we got dumped for a vacuum. You couldn't get a vacuum tomorrow. No, we can't do it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it can feel like if you put yourself out there, it can feel quite a bit uncomfortable. I've had so many guys who've talked about coming to the retreat and getting out of the vehicle and saying, what am I doing? Like, did I really drive this far to try to meet some people or try to make some connections? But then on the other side of that, saying, I'm so glad I drove this far. I'm so glad I tried to make those connections. And please hear me, the retreat is not the only place to do this, but I'm just giving you some examples. So we need to acknowledge, first of all, that we do need some friends. One of the lies that gets repeated in my mind often is that I am better on my own. I'm not going to let myself down. I don't have to worry about my personality. I don't have to worry about my emotional state. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm better on my own. And that reality is that's just not true. I mean, we look at Jesus as the perfect example. If anyone didn't need a friend here on earth, it would have been Jesus, yet he had 12 closest to him, 3 extremely close, but he had a lot of other people in the periphery. So we want to have some people that we can share some life with. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, 9 through 10, 2 are better than 1. For if they fall, and it really isn't if they fall, it's more like when they fall. We're going to go through some things. And that there are men that I'll talk to about different things than I can talk to people that are closest to me. I don't keep stuff from my wife, but I will filter something different to her than I may talk to a real close friend. I may just grip it and rip it and tell him in a much more unfiltered way. Do you see what I'm saying? So it says, if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, recognizing my friend has fallen. My friend needs me. My friend needs something more from me than to talk about the sports scores or the weather or, something we have in common, So listen, the fact that you understand you need a brotherhood, you need a tribe. A tribe is the word that we use all the time with the pursuit of manliness. You say, I need a tribe. You're not failing. It's a recognition of what God has already instilled in you. If you want friends, but you say, people drive me crazy. You want friends, but man, I don't got time for stupidness. I want some friends, but man, there's some real juveniles around me. Brother, I understand. And this is why, even more so today as I'm recording this, I'm more committed to double down on this. I'm more committed to full strength ahead on this, because I have just met some of the best men who are salt of the earth say, I didn't have friends, and I wasn't even sure where to start. Or I came out of this marriage and I realized I didn't have anybody. That's a tough place to be. And that's a place where you are most vulnerable. So if we can do anything on our end to fly the flag to say, hey, we want to help you have a brotherhood. We want to do whatever we can do. I'm thinking today, this will be the 9th podcast that you've heard from me this week. You're probably sick of hearing my voice. I get it. I'm sick of my voice too. I'm just trying to help. And if I can do that through an audio file or a video file, hey man, we'll take it. I want you to know you're not alone. Whatever you're feeling isn't rare. It isn't weird. It's the reality of men. We need a brotherhood. One of the things I'm going to try to give you some tips here, right? Okay, I'm just tools in your toolbox. Number one, we got to start by showing up. If you're involved in a group, show up to the group. I think it's the minimum we could do is to just show up. I've said before, I've heard a lot of guys say, we got to show up, we got to show up, we got to show up. I agree, but I think we need to show up prepared, because anybody can plop down. Anybody can give you baloney answers. Anyone can give you a kind of a pump fake, smoke and mirrors kind of persona. Show up, but show up prepared, but you got to be there. Whether it's for tribe, maybe it's a challenge video or a Zoom call or it's a meetup or whatever. Don't back out. Don't make excuses. I still see it today. Guys who've been in part of our communities for a long time, still making excuses. And you say, man, when is he going to get over that hurdle? I don't know. I don't know, but you just have to force yourself to do it. 20 seconds of courage to walk into the door and join your men's group. 20 seconds of courage to fill out the online registration form for your local men's group at your church to say, I'll be there every Saturday as we study this book. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's 20 seconds of courage to call your pastor and say, I want to lead a small group. I want to lead a men's group. Whatever it is, man, just start by showing up. Bible studies, prayer groups, discipleship groups, whatever, serving opportunities, mentoring, discipleship, a lot of opportunities to do life on life. Guys love outdoor-based stuff. I was just messaging with a good friend here today. We got something we're working on in November. We got something we're trying to put together in May. I was talking to a friend earlier today about, we just need to try to think of some things, guys can do across the country once a month, or can we do some things virtually even where guys can get together and just know that they have that brother connection. They don't need to sign up. They just need to show up. They just need to be present. The next one would be the initiator. Someone must go first, right? We've talked about that before. Jonathan and his armor bearers. Somebody has to go first. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. I'm not patting myself on the back, and I hope you know that as I started this podcast. But I did initiate a tribe, and I trudged through it the first 6 months that were an absolute debacle. I mean, guys are in tribe now wouldn't even recognize session one, but every session, and I would tell every guy this that was a part of it, I'm thinking about the now and the next. Even in this session now, I'm thinking about the next one. Like, okay, what needs to change? What needs to be modified? Like, where are we failing? Where are we dropping the ball? Where is it unclear of what is expected or what we want them to do? And just trying to unpack that. So as men get into it, again, a very vulnerable thing to join a group of guys. Am I making this clear? And am I communicating in an effective way that you say, okay, that's what needs to be done? Be the initiator. You got your Bible? That's all the curriculum you need. Put one more camping chair out in your backyard and invite somebody over. Now, maybe that might be too close. I don't like stuffy things, and I'll get to that in a minute. I don't like things that are too stuffy. I don't want entrapment. But maybe get a couple guys together and start by having lunch with them a couple times. And maybe in that second lunch or that third lunch, you say, hey, what would you guys think if like once a month we did a thing where we got together? I would venture to say most of the time that they'll be up for it, even if they're unclear. Be as clear as you can. Now, please don't have the whole roadmap. They might be a little overwhelming, but be the initiator. Someone's got to go first, okay? It doesn't have to be smooth. It doesn't have to be flawless. It doesn't have to be perfect. As I said with Tribe, and you guys have been a part of it, you know that every session we're modifying it just a little bit to try to figure out, okay, how do we make this more real? And how do we make it more intentional so that when someone signs up, they're getting the best experience possible? The next one would be, as much as you can, be transparent. Take the mask off. Literally, take the mask off. When I'm in my participation in Tribe, when I do challenge videos or Zoom calls, I participate like the rest of the guys do. Zoom calls are not me teaching at them. It's not 45 minutes of me instructing you in the way of that you should go. It's a conversation, and I participate in it, and I jump out of it. You know, I'm one of many. Same way with challenge videos. You can lead out in that. Maybe not vomit your life week 1 or week 2, but if you're looking to have some friends, you got to take the mask off. You got to be transparent. The guys that I respect the most, the guys that you see the brotherhood growing in exponential ways, are the guys who are kind of like, you know what? I wasn't sure about this thing, but I knew I needed something, so I'm going to give it a go. And when you hear that, you think, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. The guys who come in and they have it all figured out, that might be a different conversation. So take the mask off. Admit, man, life is a challenge. There's some real obstacles in life. Like, again, when you have genuine brotherhood, and I know it's hard to find, and we're talking about just kind of initiating that friendship, admit, I don't have this figured out, or I'm trying to figure it out, or I say often, it won't be for a lack of effort, right? Maybe you could ask that person for prayer for something. Hey, man, when you think about it, would you pray for, my marriage, or would you pray for one of my kids, or would you pray for, yeah, man, you got it. It's just a way that you can kind of, like a car dealer would slide a price over, or maybe, a realtor selling a house would slide a price over. You're just kind of sliding a bit of friendship over. Would you pray for me about this? Whenever you think about it, and maybe in turn, they might say the same thing to you. Tell them what you feel like God is teaching you, work it into conversation. Man, I've read this text, and for the last week or so, I really feel like God is really working on me about this. Oh, yeah? They may say nothing back. It might be uncomfortable. Again, you're kind of putting yourself out there. But when you put yourself out there, and I will be a witness to this, you might be surprised what you can eventually get in return. I've told the men in Tribe this quite a bit recently, that when this thing started, as I said, I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help men. I wanted to try to have a voice where I could say, hey, here's some things I'm learning. Here's some things I'm seeing. Here's some things I've walked through. I had no idea how much these men would help me. I'm humbled at how much these men help me in just about every way imaginable. And I'm just telling you that because that might be what you're longing for. You say, man, I really need somebody that I know is praying for me. I really need somebody who would speak into this or that. You'll never get it if you don't take the mask off. Someone must go first and just show up. Okay? So let's move on to the next one. Choose quality over quantity. You don't need the perfect friend, but you need a man of God. I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to say this. If he's a jackwagon, probably not going to be that helpful to you. I understand. And there was a season of my life like this when there were times where I had friends that I would call jackwagon. They probably called me a jackwagon, but it was all I had. It was all I had. So I'm going to go with whatever I got, but we weren't going to make each other better. We were never really going to hold each other accountable. We were never going to call out sin in one another's life. We were just going to be kind of slap happy. And you know what? I mean, we're just doing it and we're fun and we're Christian guys and we're doing this for Jesus. There was no maturity there. Find some people that are mature. Again, I I would fly the tribe flag. Literally, it's standing over my shoulder if you're watching on YouTube. But I would say you want some mature men, give one session of tribe a chance. Just one. If you engage in it, you will grow because you not only will put in the work, you will get around guys who are just like you, who are saying the same thing. And maybe they're saying it and you didn't even know how to verbalize it. And you'll find quality human beings in there. I use the phrase high caliber. Whatever phrase you use, that's fine, but you'll find those people. Look for guys who love Jesus more than being knuckleheads. Look for guys who will tell you the truth, not necessarily what you want to hear. If you surround yourself with people that will only tell you what you want to hear, you'll eventually be surrounded by people who have absolutely nothing to say. You will have filled your life with bobbleheads. They just laugh and nod their head the whole time, and nothing good is ever going to come from that. An insecure man will want to spend his life around bobbleheads. He'll want to spend his life around people who are just nodding their head all the time, maybe laughing at his jokes, excusing his sin and saying, I got the same one. But when you get around quality human beings, when you get around high caliber human beings, they're not going to browbeat you, but they're going to call you to a higher standard. We say raise the standard. Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to say you're better than that. You know, you've heard me talk about, men in tribe have certainly heard me talk about guys who are, extensively dating their girlfriend. What I mean by that is we're looking at a year, 2 years, like, what are we doing? You hit a certain age, you're not going to learn nothing in month 7 that you didn't know in month 6. And you never hit the gas more on getting to know a person than when you're dating. Once you're married, let's be honest, we kind of hit cruise sometimes, right? I'm not running home as fast as I can, change my clothes to go have a, bacon cheeseburger with my wife like I did when we were dating, right? Maybe I should. I'm just saying, just telling you the truth. And so I tell guys, like, if you're dating the girl a long time or if you're living with her, let's get married. Let's do this right? Why would I tell them that? Am I trying to browbeat them? Am I trying to force you into marriage? Am I trying to guilt you? No, I'm trying to tell you that girl, she wants to marry you if she's still around. I promise you. That's what she's thinking. You might be thinking something different. So I want to call you to a higher standard because I love you and I care about you. Not to browbeat you. I don't want to force you into anything, but I want to call you to a higher standard. At some point, let's go. Men will often take the path of least resistance. So to that end, I would say fish or cut bait. Move on with it already. We need to tell each other that in love. Again, be better. Raise the standard. I'm not better than you, but I'm going to be better than that. And that's what you should want to be as well. The next one would be have shared experiences. Do some things together. Go for a hike. Go grab a burger. Go to a ball game. We've done things here, I've told you before, like March Madness or axe throwing or whatever it is. I mean, there's nature preserves and state parks and things everywhere. Let's find some guys like, hey, you want to go hike? If you don't know the person, I get it. It could be a little strange. I would start with lunch. The reason why I go to lunch all the time, literally go to lunch all the time. The reason why I talk about lunch all the time is 2 reasons. Number one, for most guys, they're squeezing it in. Now, I like that because there's an end time there, right? The second thing is for most guys, they eat lunch every day. They don't necessarily drink coffee every day. I'm definitely not going to go grab supper with you because I need to be home or I'm at soccer practice or I'm doing Zoom or whatever. But lunch for a lot of guys, that will work. You say, well, that doesn't work for me, Jarrett. Fine. Find what does work for you. I'm not going to go with you if you invite me to go play golf. And I love golf. I stink at it. But I'm not going to invite. No, I'm not going to go because if I'm having a bad day at golf, you're going to see maybe the worst in me. And I'm out there for 4 hours. A lunch is about an hour and a half, if not less. Okay. Coffee feels a little stuffy too sometimes. I'm at a little table. There's a bunch of people around. Hey, man, you've heard me say it. Men connect where men connect. Sometimes they connect leaning over a truck, fixing your buddy's truck from Texas that comes up and you have to fix it all the time. Or maybe, it's something out in the backyard of your church. Or maybe it's, again, like a campground, nature trail, whatever. I mean, find your guys and figure out, okay, what can we do? I've done like tailgate stuff at my house where it maybe first weekend of college football or whatever it is. Like I'm going to have a bunch of people over, put a bunch of TVs up. I don't know. Men love TVs and fire pits because we can watch them. I don't love an environment that I have to look you in the eyes the whole time. And you probably don't either. Okay. The next one will be not last one, but the next one will be pray about it. Pray that God would bring godly men into your life, but also that you would be a godly man. I just had a guy on one of my videos today basically say everyone around him is not a man of God, not a good dude. To that end, I'm sorry. I don't know what that looks like, and that's not me right now. That's not my season of life. I have those guys. But I would say if you can't find one, make sure that you are being one. Make sure you are that guy, because I wouldn't want another guy in your community to say that about you. I wouldn't want anyone in my house to say that about me. I wouldn't want anyone in my church to say, we just can't find a man of God. I wouldn't want that, because that means I'm dropping the ball somewhere. So just make sure that you are being one. And if you're praying about it, be ready. That friend may not be the most popular. They may not be the coolest. They may not drive the right vehicle. They may not be in the right season of life. I've had some friends that were in later seasons of life, and it might be the best thing for me. I was just telling a guy that the other day. When my wife was, she wasn't my wife then, but when she was volunteering, maybe she was. When she was volunteering at the church, I did it because that's my woman, right? That's what I'm going to do, because that's the right thing to do. That's what I felt like doing. There was another guy in the church. His name was Ken. Ken was older than me, had kids, had tools, had trucks, Ken was basically everything that I wasn't. If Ken said, hey man, I need you to show up at 9:00. We're going to help so-and-so move. And I remember him doing that. Oh, I'd show up. I'm not going to let Ken down. He needs my help. He probably saw it as discipleship now, looking back, going, this guy needs somebody. He probably identified a young man who needed somebody to show him the way. And I remember riding around in Ken's truck. I remember going to events with him. Like, I remember that he brought tools, and I was like, why are you bringing tools? We're not going anywhere to fix anything. He said, if you have them and you don't need them, you'll be fine. If you don't have them and you wish you need them, you're in a bind. And I thought, okay, bring tools. Like, I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's different when it's your bride than when it's a buddy. And at that point, I didn't know what Ken was doing. Looking back, I'm like, he was discipling me. Whether he identified it that way or not, that's what happened. So be ready. God might put some people right in front of you. Be patient, but persistent. Don't give up. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't throw in the towel. We need you, brother. And when I say I need you, I mean two things by that. Number one, we need you. We need you alive. We need you here, okay? Too many men are not hearing that. I need you. We need you. There are people in your life that need you. If you're not here, there is a vacancy. And there's a problem, okay? So I want you to get that. Number two, we need you. I say this in Tribe. We get men from all different walks of life. We have men with all different seasons of life. We have men all on different places of their journey with the walk with the Lord. I'm like, we need you. We need you to share. We need you to engage. You say, I don't know if what I'm sharing is correct. Doesn't matter. We need you. Because we'll have a conversation to make sure we have sound theology, but we need you. If you sign up and don't show up, that's no good. If you sign up and then you tap out after a couple weeks, and this happens to some guys like, oh, I'm just in over my head. No, you're in the right spot. Whoever that person is that you identify that's way more spiritual than you, I promise you, if you tell them, hey man, I feel that, they will humbly tell you they have felt the same way. That's what men of God do, okay? We need you. Whatever angle you want to look at that statement from, I'll take it. We need you, okay? So consider this. Here's some things we can do. We need some application. I've talked to you enough. Start with an invite to something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what works for you. If you invite a guy to a ball game, he may not like sports. There was a guy in my church years ago. I invited him to Buffalo, easy for me to say, Buffalo Wild Wings for lunch. My thought was, this is kind of a quiet guy. If things get awkward, we can always look at the TVs. There was something I was going to do at the church that I wanted his buy-in about before we got into it. I sit down, I start to talk to him, and he says, I hate sports. I thought we have come to the wrong place. I hope you like chicken, because that's what we're fixing on eating here. Well, I tried, okay? So maybe we'll do something different. Maybe we'll try a different thing next time. Maybe we'll try a fire pit. Again, fire pits are great because we can just stare. Invite somebody somewhere. Maybe your guy is a coffee guy. Maybe he loves coffee. Invite him to a coffee shop. Don't be weird about it. Just be like, hey, man, on Friday, you want to grab a cup of coffee before you go to work? Or you want to go to Chick-fil-A, have breakfast before you go to work? I don't know. He is probably feeling the exact same way. I know what you're thinking. Everybody has all the friends and I have none. That is not the case. There are plenty of men who do not have friends. And for them, it's just as intimidating and they are unsure as well. I promise. This is a common theme amongst men. So invite someone to do something. Do it this week. Whether it's join your men's group, join your tribe, join your church, join your fire pit, come to your men's retreat, Go to a ball game. I don't know. Just try something. Okay. Or you know what? Maybe you and your wife have another couple over if you're married. I don't know. The next one would be join or re-engage in a men's small group, Bible study, tribe, whatever. If you're in tribe, re-engage. If you've never been in tribe, again, I want to go back to this. I would encourage you to try one session. Just try one session. See what you think. 6 months later, you leaned in, you tried it, you say it doesn't work. Okay. But then but you've had some tools. You've had 26 weeks of conversation. You can now take those things and you can incorporate into your own life, your own discipleship groups. Pray that God would grow your brotherhood in your life. Real men, real guys. Don't be the guy who's dunking on the JV team, as I talked about before, hanging out with jack wagons and slappies all the time. Get guys who are solid, high caliber. You get around them, I promise you it will make you grow. It might be a little intimidating at first, but if these really are high caliber men, they'll welcome you into the brotherhood. It's just the way this thing works. And then the last one will be this. Message someone every week just to encourage them. I mean, you can do it every day, which is probably better, but I'm just trying to have something that's reachable. Set it on your calendar, put it in your tertiary calendar, put it somewhere where you can see it, tape it to your computer. I don't know. One guy once a week, make it a different guy every week to just try to encourage him. Some of the things I've done is like, hey man, I don't need anything, but I just want you to know. And maybe I'll tell them a compliment I heard about them from somebody else. Hey, that Bob's a really sharp guy. Da, da, da. Hey man, I just want you to know Tim was saying that you're a really sharp guy. And because we don't hear that stuff very often. Or maybe just say, hey, I just really appreciate serving with you in that ministry, man. Thank you for being a good friend or whatever. Just one guy. We don't need to make it weird. Just one guy that you can be like, I just want to give him a source of encouragement, because here's what you already know this, but we don't believe this necessarily. Most men are not being encouraged. Most men are not being told that somebody's proud of them. Most men are not told, we need you. Most men are just trudging through this life. It's empty. It's lonely. We know there's a vacuum somewhere. We know that there's something missing. We're not really sure what to do about it, but we have a number of obligations that we're not complaining about them. It is a blessing to have a job. It's a blessing to be married or have a girlfriend or fiance. You better marry that girl, or to have kids or to whatever, grandkids, whatever. It's a blessing. I'm not complaining. But because I have obligations, for me to get away, I have a little bit of guilt. Should I do it? I don't know. Same with my kids and those things. Do it. Ask your wife first. There's 2 or 3 things I'll be asking my wife here real shortly. Hey, just want to make sure I got your blessing on this. Is it okay if I do this so we're on the same page? And I promise you it'll be worth it. Amen. Just think about it. Just think about it. Pray about it. I'll talk to you in a bit. Thank you again for tuning into the Pursuit of Manliness podcast. Please like, comment, and share the show. Also, if you would leave an iTunes review, that would be greatly appreciated. And remember, keep pursuing biblical manliness.